Well, good afternoon. I would like to tell you a very interesting story. At least I hope you'll find it interesting. It's not such a nice story, really, but it's a story about the rapidity with which a mamba can kill. These are true tales of my African adventures. May this inspire you, deter you, caution you, and above all, entertain you. Now, I was sitting just like this really, one afternoon. It was late afternoon, the time when mambas hunt. And I was sitting with the farmer whom I bought our farm from. It's a strange thing. He was of Dutch and German descent, and I was of Dutch and German descent. His name was Frederick Sterzel, and my name was Frederick Sterzel. How's that? Anyway, there we were sitting and chatting, and roughly 1,000 feet from us, in front, there was a dirt road, a dirt track that the vehicles used to move across on their way to different farms, and often people would walk across there. And along came, of all people, one of our staff, Benny's brother, and he had his dog in tow. It was a cross between I'm not quite sure, but it had either a wolfhound in it or something of that nature. It was a very strange crossbreed. They were walking up the road, and suddenly there was a scurry, and he was bending over, and then he was running, and then he was in the bush, and then he was out of the bush, and we couldn't figure out what was going on. It was just too far to make out. Next thing, Benny had got a phone call from his brother on the road. We at this stage did not know that it was Benny's brother. Well, suddenly Benny came around the corner and he said his brother's dog has just been bitten by a mamba. Can we please assist? Now, the dog had been bitten. We'd seen the movement, the scurrying around, and I guess that took about 4 to 5 minutes. I said, all right, come with, and you jump in the back of the truck. I'll get the truck and we'll go down and see what we can do. I retrieved a container to put the mamba in case I caught it, a bag, and a grab stick. A snake grab stick, and I shot down to the road and went up to Benny's brother and I said, where's the dog? And he stood there looking rather sad, pointing to a lifeless body in the grass. And I went over to the dog, which was still warm and supple, but its breathing had stopped. And I think that whole process took between 10 and 15 minutes, and the dog was dead. What had happened is that they were walking along, and the mamba was in the grass verge ready to cross the road. They often crossed at that point because they used to come and drink water on our farm. It was a very dry, rocky outcrop of an extensive one. And in this rocky outcrop there were many mambas, and there were pythons, and there were cobras, and there were tree snakes, and all sorts, but no water there. So they came in the dry months to drink on our farm. He was on his way to drink. The dog heard it move and went in and bit the mamba, and its teeth penetrated the mamba's body cavity, and the mamba of course bit it, and it died. The rapidity with which dogs die, any animal in fact, and unfortunately even humans, when they're bitten by mambas, is extraordinary. It's alarming. I've seen people go down in 10 to 15 minutes, and it is a terrifying thing, and this dog died in that short space of time. Well, I must tell you, we looked for the mamba, and eventually we flushed it out of the grass. It went up into a tree, and I retrieved the mamba, caught it, necked the mamba, put it in a bag, took it home, and then we treated the poor mamba for the dog bite. And that required a few stitches and some antiseptic and so on, and bandaging. And we kept the mamba in an enclosure, and it lived for about 5 to 7 days, if I remember correctly, and then it died of its injuries. So both dog dead, mamba dead.